Hello and happy new year from a snowy day in North Texas. I'm so glad that you have joined me this afternoon, and we are going to talk about some magical embroidery effects. But before we do, I thought you might like to see what's happening in my backyard. In fact, it's a snow day here in Texas is very rare, so it's a pretty big deal to have some snow. And I didn't even go into the office. We prepped yesterday to present this video, class for you, and we're hoping it all goes well, right? So I know many of you have snow. Cold. Helga says it's cold there in Pittsburgh, and it's one of our friends from Washington and Youngsville, Louisiana. Not sure if they have snow, but they probably, maybe they will have it coming their way in La Crosse, Wisconsin. And Reen Wilcoxon. Hi, Reen. Yes, we did get snow. Can you believe it? That's a big deal here in Texas. And schools are closed. They closed them like probably Tuesday, they called it, but that's okay. But we'll weather the storm. We'll have a lot of fun. And it's a great day to be inside and in your sewing room. Or at your laptop playing on the computer with some really exciting software. So today's topic is all about some magical embroidery effects that you can get with one of our specialty softwares, and that is Special Effects Embroidery. For years, we've been stitching run stitches, satins, and fills, and pretty much just that, right? Over and over again, maybe adding some ingenuity to some of the basic stitches, but the Special Effects Embroidery software really has you slicing thread. It has you slicing fabric. It adds dimension to all kinds of different techniques and beautiful embroidery. So let's go ahead and take a look at why this is all happening today, because this is really a reaction to Ashley Jones's class that she held on Tuesday, and that was Plaid Foam Fringe Oh My. So if you didn't get an opportunity to watch that, I encourage you to do so. You can always see all of our past broadcasts on YouTube or Facebook. And in fact, on this one, Ashley gave you a quick tutorial on how to find specific videos on our YouTube channel. So if you are interested in learning more about our program, our software, and our products, that's a great place to go. So what about Plaid Foam Fringe Oh My? Well, how you get it is in the product that is sponsoring today's class, and that is our embroidery special effects software. It's on sale for $574.96. Now, that might sound a little pricey, but boy, what a great investment it is. There's over 2,000 artwork shapes in there that will let you apply all these different special effects. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of my favorite features that are in Special Effects Embroidery. Many of the special effects features you can get in Special Effects software. Here we have our Ombre text, and Ombre on this side we have Prism. Of course, the plaid and the fringe is probably one of my top 2 features of the software. But let's discuss the text first. So Ombre is 2 different colors that blend together beautifully. So we have this darker blue fading into a brighter yellow. And, I stitched it in 2 highly contrasting colors so that you could really see what that effect is like. On this stitched out sample, today is your day you really have to take a closer look to see how the orange is lighter at the top and darker as you escalate down towards the bottom of the A. On the light pink in the Y, going to kind of a deeper red, and the same here on the D. It just catches the eye a little bit. It's a subtle variation. And of course, if you select threads that are a bit more contrasted, you would get a stronger effect. Here's another fabulous example of ombre lettering. Now, Anne McCarthy, these are her samples, and she went from a soft blue to a lilac. She took that lilac over here and then segues into kind of a lime green, and oh, just gorgeous. Look at the coloration in that text. And doesn't it marry so well with the plaid fabric that it's stitched on and the trim over here? And of course, she used the very same colors to stitch these beautiful flowers. Love that effect, all in special effects software. Here on the Prism sample, Be Your Own Hero, I selected 4 colors, and just with a click of a mouse, I can play with how those colors appear in the lettering. And let me show you how to do that in the software. So in the software, I'm going to click on the True Type font tool, and I'm going to type in Be Your Own Hero in 4 different lines. And the reason that I'm doing that is it gives me the ability to apply that prism to each line. Now, I could do it to all 4 lines together at once, but let's just show you how I like to do it, because it also gives me the ability to easily resize and align those 4 lines within that little banner shape, right? So it's going to come in the True Type font in a, kind of a small size, but that's all right. You just type your message, and then I'm going to select each individual one, kind of get it centered and resize to fill that space. Now I'll select the B, and then I'll click on Complex Fill, and then the Prism icon. And I can use those slider bars to change how much of each color is applied to the text. Oh, it's so much fun. Literally, with just 3 clicks, I have it done. You do have to apply Complex Fill first because it's artwork, that True Type font at that point. And then, play to your heart's content, right? You can really have some fun making sure each letter has at least 2 colors in it. And now I'll select Own Hero as 1 unit. Oh, but I forgot to apply the complex fill, so you'll get a blank screen. Now that I have the complex fill applied and I go into the Prism tool, I now notice that the colors are applied over both lines. And I like that. I mean, it's super easy to do. And what an impact that lettering has on that banner. Instead of just stitching it in 1 color, it's so impactful now, and it really looks great. So let's go ahead and take plaid and the fringe have got to be my favorite features. Look at this adorable Sunny girl. Her hair and the shape of her face and her mouth and her braid are from Sunny Girl, which was an on-the-house design that we gave away last year or the year before. And I did some fun editing, took off her sunglasses, digitized some eyes, and then made her a poncho that, of course, is edged in fringe. It is so easy to do this. My plaid features 2 different colors. It's on the diagonal. And then I use those very same colors to fill in the turtleneck. So much fun. So let me show you how to do something like this in special effects software. So I've already drawn an outline of the poncho, right? It's just a simple shape. And then I select it and click on the plaid icon. And I get some choices about an outline. And I'm going to apply a steel outline. And then the first default is it's just 1 color. And it's in the cross pattern, meaning vertical and horizontal. but I can switch that to diagonal, and I can also apply a second color. I can change the size of the column widths of the plaid and the space between, so I can, scale my plaid appropriately for the item that I'm decorating. Now, if I want to change those colors, I can very easily do that by selecting a color chip for the background or the first color, and then the chip that follows it will be applied to the top layer of the plaid. And of course, it just assigns an outline color to that steel, but I can change that. So I'm just kind of playing with, what's going to be in the background. So I have blue in the background and yellow on top, which I think is very attractive. And now I want to apply the fringe. So I just click on that fringe tool, and I'm going to select the half pom-pom, click OK, and I'm dropping it right at the edge of the poncho. Now I'll zoom in here a little bit so you can get a better look. And it comes in, with the rays towards the top of the design. And I want to spin that around so it's actually accenting that poncho. And then just to duplicate it, I'm selecting that pom-pom, copy, paste, and I'm going to do that 4 times along that left edge of the, lower edge of the poncho. Now I make sure that that kind of flat edge of my fringe is laying on top of my steel outline, because after I fringe it, I want it to appear to be a part of the poncho. If I leave any separation there, it won't look that good. So now I've selected all 4. I'll copy, paste, mirror image, and just move it over to the other side. Now, don't worry about having some of those threads extending off the edge of the poncho, because once you fringe it, it will just naturally fall in place and it's going to look terrific. So don't worry about that. And there you have her. Isn't she adorable? So much fun. So much fun. I see that Riva Embroidery, she just purchased her special effects software yesterday, and she's so excited. Oh, well, you'll be able to jump right in. That's the best part about a software purchase, is that you can just jump right in. It's a downloadable item. So on this snowy day, there's nothing more fun than to, dabble in software and just play to your heart's content. Okay, so what are we moving on to next? Well, I have some other examples of plaid from my friend Aine McCarthy. Let's take a look. Speaking of plaid, my good friend Aine McCarthy shared these samples with me. So I want you to take a good look at these fabrics. So she decorated these kitchen towels with purchased plaid fabric, and then she took some clip art that's in the software, and I could show you this file, and then she just converted it into 2 different plaids, right? We have this kind of russet color, and then we have a darker brown for the feathers in here. And then she also did an embossed complex fill for his crown, and boy, that looks fantastic. On the pumpkin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different segments in the pumpkin, and each one is treated differently with the plaid. Here we have the diagonal plaid, so you'll notice that those openings are in a diamond pattern, and in the center she opted for just the horizontal or the cross layout so that it looks like a more traditional plaid. Super fun. Aine's examples are just phenomenal. I mean, she is such a talented embroiderer, sewist, or, whatever you want to call people that just dabble in fibers. She's very talented. And I have some more samples of her that we'll be sharing today. Well, that plaid and the fringe is just 2 of the techniques that you can do in special effects software. I kind of fell in love with one of the shapes. I told you there's over 2,000 of them in special effects software. And I fell in love with this little lamb. He is just this charming farm animal. And I made him in 4 different styles. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. First one here has fringe all over his body. lamb number 2 is actually applique, and this lamb is made with batting. I'm going to raise that up. Well, maybe I'll just lift it so you can see the dimension in that applique. It is literally like bubbling out. You see how so much texture is there because I used a wool batting, just the batting, that's all, and placed it on his body and his face. And then we're going to fringe his the top of his head. So I have already stitched that, and we'll cut that out now. And then next we have the varsity fill. Now the varsity fill is a really dense, kind of a scribble fill. It's not going to go in the traditional pattern that you would think, like a normal complex fill goes diagonally, right? Just in various rows of stitches. Here's a good example of that varsity fill. A sweatshirt that I did that was stitched in the variegated thread. And this shows you where that needle is traveling, right? It goes all over in the open space so that you don't get vertical lines on a variegated thread of striped thread. So that's what's making that varsity fill. It kind of looks like chenille, and boy, I love it for animals. I love it for all kinds of different things. So I used him here to fill in the body. I also used him on this one that for his face. So it just gives you a really nice texture and some added fill. So here I am in the software, and I'm going to show you the library of shapes. So this is just the animal category, and I'll scroll down to find the little lamb. And then I just click on him and OK, and he appears on the screen. Now, when he comes in, his face is grouped together. So I'm just going to select his face. Oh, what am I doing here? Oh, I guess I'm showing you all 4 variations. And we're going to go through each one. They don't take long at all, so don't be afraid. But I'm going to ungroup. Well, I'll right-click and break apart. So now his eyes and his mouth are separate from his outline. And I'll right-click and convert to a steel to get a nice satin outline on his face. I'm going to enlarge his mouth just a little bit and convert that to a complex fill. I mean, look how quick this is, right? You think you can't digitize? Well, let me tell you, you can, because all of these settings in here allow you to be extremely creative. I just converted those feet to complex fill. And now on his body, I clicked on the varsity icon, and that's what's adding that really dense, fun texture to his body. And I'll do the same on the face. And it's going to come in black, no big deal. I'll then just click on either gray or the white chip. Now notice, I guess I didn't catch his eye when I converted that to a steel, so I'll do that now. Now on his on the top of his head, let's go ahead and add the fringe there. And this time I'm going to select a full pom-pom, the full circle. And just with the left mouse click, I'll drop 4, 5, or 6 of those along the crown of his head. And once that's fringed, it is just adorable, just adorable. And here we have some, Catherine is saying, and now I'm going to worry about the color sequence, right? We want to make sure that that eye stitches on top of the face and so forth. So I'm just kind of checking that to make sure everything's in order. And I can use my stitch simulator to ensure that everything is stitching in the right process. Now that's that varsity fill on top. Isn't that great? Okay, so let's see. I just want to, what happened there? I just want to pause this for a second so I can give a shout out to Catherine, because she says, the joy of Brothers Machines with Dime software, it's just too easy. To send the design to the machine is amazing. And I don't know what the SDX225 is, but okay. Hopefully we'll get that on the wish list, right? You know, there is an icon right there in our software that's going to allow us to send this design right to a Brother or Baby Lock machine. And it is sweet. It's a very nice feature. Okay, let's carry on. So I'm now going to select those. pom-poms and change them to white, and everything is good to go. All right, let's move on to another. Now we're going to add fringe to the body, right? We're going to have, and I've already done his face, so you don't have to sit through that again. Oh, or maybe I didn't. And now we'll select that full pom-pom, and we're going to drop that in his body. When you are doing this, it's okay if the fringe pom-poms overlap each other, as long as the center of each pom-pom does not overlap with another center. Because if it does, then you will not be able to release the fringe stitches themselves. So that's just one of the guidelines that you have to, pay attention to, and it's pretty easy to avoid that catastrophe. It's not that big a deal. Now, I can individually move each one and fine-tune their placement. You know how we are as embroiderers. We really want to perfect every stitch placement. And of course, that software allows you to do that. Now, I could select all of those and turn them into white. There we go. And now we're ready to stitch. One of my favorites is that applique, and I use that wool batting, remember? So again, I'm going to start with the same artwork, select those feet, turn them into complex fill, and then I'm going to take his face and convert. Well, first we got to break that apart. I thought I had edited this out of there. Sorry. So we'll do that. And then we're going to just click on the body and on the applique icon. Just like that. Now that is applique. You can see it's going to do the whole body. I'm going to do the same thing to the face. And I will select it and use the applique icon. And then on his crown, I'm going to add the fringe again because it's just a lovely accent. Just a great accent to add to an animal to make them more realistic, right? So cute. When I do these things, I think of my granddaughter who just loves animals, and she would be so charmed by this. Unfortunately, she's in Virginia, so I have to make the effort to stitch out these kind of samples and send them to her. She loves that. Super fun. And I'm just changing the color and so forth. But isn't that amazing that you can get 4 totally different looks, same clip art, same artwork that's in the software. All those tools are just at your fingertips. It's really so much fun. I had a blast doing that. And I used wool batting because, well, why not? It's a little lamb, made it feel realistic, and it gave it that beautiful loft. Okay, here's Laura Parks. She says she's been digitizing manually since 1999, and she can tell you this is much faster. You are not kidding, Laura. And Laura, it takes years to perfect digitizing skills, right? Because you need to be technically savvy, and you also need to have artistic ability. But a software program like special effects software takes all of that pressure away from you. It just puts these simple tools at your fingertips. It supplies the artwork for you that has been selected by embroiderers, so we know it's going to work in the software. And oh man, it's a game changer. It really is. Definitely. Okay, so let's carry on. Now, this poor guy, I'm calling him the black sheep because I kind of showed you in the beginning him on the kind of seafoam green felt, right? Stitched out, or maybe he's on the white, and then I threw him to the side. I mean, he really got rejected. But anyway, just like any black sheep would. Same thing. And now you've seen me do the plaid already in the poncho. So it's going to be the same process. We're just going to, change his face and make sure that all his details are as we want them. And then we'll select his body and click on the plaid tool. And this time I'm going to do a bean stitch outline instead of a steel. And notice it comes in, it's rather, it's a little too robust for that scale of art. So in the properties box, I'm going to change the width of the satins and the space between, and I will do multicolor. I also like the diamond pattern. I almost always go for the diamond. I just love that. And there you have it. So now I just did some subtle gray and white so that he wouldn't be too glaring, right? Like even when we, some lambs, sheep are black, but others are just kind of gray, right? And that might be because they're dirty. Again, I'm going to apply that varsity to the face because it just is a great accent. And then we'll drop in some fringe on his crown. Excuse me. So, can you believe how simple it is to do fringe? I mean, you know, if you were embroidering 10 years ago, it was very difficult to even find fringe designs. And those that you did find, you couldn't resize, you couldn't adjust, you couldn't apply fringe to another area of a design. But now, with this software, it gives you the ability.
So we can go ahead and cut this one open. I flip it to the wrong side and get my stitch ripper. And I'm just putting the blade right in those bobbin stitches. And again, I'm moving in a circular pattern so that I'm releasing just those bobbin stitches. And I just kind of keep an eye on where the blade is going because I don't want to like cut his eyes or anything like that. And I'm just working around. Now notice I do have cutaway stabilizer on the back of this fabric. And I like to use cutaway when I'm doing fringe because it's a nice sturdy base and I don't have to worry that I will cut in through or that I'll cut through the stabilizer and into the fabric, right? That's not the goal here. You most certainly want to leave the fabric intact. Okay, one last one. And boy, is the stitch ripper is the tool for this job. My goodness, it makes it so fast. So fast. Look at that. If I was here with a pair of scissors or a seam ripper, well, that would take forever. Okay, we'll flip that over. And then you can just use something. If you have a delicate brush, you could use a brush to release these stitches. Oh my goodness, they're so much fun. And sometimes you miss some of the bobbin stitches, so you'll just flip it back over and release those stitches. Now, when I'm digitizing something like this, I always make sure that my fringe is stitches last because I don't want any other details of my artwork or my embroidery design to stitch on top of the fringe, because if that were to occur, I would not be able to fringe those portions of the design, right? Because there would be thread stitched on top.
So I'm just going to answer Rhonda's question. So she asked, is that a complete independent software or a plugin to another? It is an independent software program, but I'd like you to understand that all of the Dime software lives inside of Embroidery Toolshed. So on your computer, you're not going to have multiple programs. You're just going to have Embroidery Toolshed. And when you click on that and open it, that's where you're going to find all your other programs. So it's super easy to use and super easy to keep up with when we do upgrades, which we do often. So to keep it compliant with Microsoft and Apple. So that's the the easy way to understand why it's like that. We call the Embroidery Toolshed the mothership. Everything lives inside. And then I also wanted to answer Colleen. She wanted to know, how can you tell which are the bobbin threads? Well, unfortunately, what I'm clipping here is white thread, right? The lamb is stitched with white thread. So it's difficult to see the beautiful polyester threads on the back. But fringe embroidery is not on the back side. The bobbin threads do not extend the complete stitch. They are about a third of the back of the embroidery. So you can clearly see where the bobbin thread is linked to the polyester top thread. So it's very simple to just place that stitch ripper blade in the center of the back of the embroidery design, and you'll just snip those threads. And really, it doesn't matter if you snip the the outside edge of the polyester thread, the top thread that's showing on the back, because all you're doing is releasing, right? You're just releasing the threads that are caught in the bobbin. So you just stitch one fringe and then play with it on the back, and you'll totally get that concept. So I apologize for I should have used a black bobbin in this demonstration, or I should have done a black sheep so that the top thread was more visible. So I apologize for that. And let's see, Susie, you say you need to get one of those razors. That is our stitch ripper, and every embroiderer should have one. The first reason why you should have one is in case you make a mistake, it allows you to remove those stitches. The second reason is if you're going to do fringe, it's just fantastic. And we kind of consider the stitch ripper like insurance, like auto insurance. If you have it, you're not going to get in an accident. If you don't have it, you're probably going to need it. So that's why. And let's see, Carolyn McPherson wants to know, does the fringe hold up to machine washing? Absolutely. Yeah, it is secured. And with those, I'm going to call them tack down stitches. That's probably not the right term, but they are held firmly in the fabric. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, I would suggest, if that were me and it was a garment, I would throw that in a mesh laundry bag, like a lingerie bag, and put that in my washing machine, because any kind of serious agitation against other fabrics in your washing machine, it's not great for embroidery, right? So I would just do that. Okay, so let's see. Let's go ahead.
Like, for instance, you might be tempted to place the eyeball over the fringe, but if you do that, you will not be able to release the fringe in that area. And really, it's much more natural to have that fringe hanging over the eye, just like it would when some animals have bangs, right? All right. Oh my goodness, this is so fun. Look how charming that is. It's just so charming. It looks kind of natural, don't you think? Really fun. And I guess there's one more to do here, so we might as well do it while we're all together. It seems counterintuitive to make all these beautiful stitches and then immediately pick up a stitch ripper and just tear out those stitches, doesn't it? But that's the task at hand, and that's, intentional. That's what's going to give those beautiful long loops on the front and create the fringe effect. Boy, that's a mouthful. Say that 5 times. Okay, we'll just get a couple more of these bobbin stitches. I think that looks pretty good. There we go. And again, we'll just kind of brush that off and release those stitches. Oh my goodness, he's adorable. These little lambs. Do you have any grandchildren that love farm animals? Well, this is fun embroidery to create for animal lovers for sure. The fringe is just charming. And it adds texture, which people are just charmed when they see texture in embroidery. They often wonder, how did you achieve that? How did you get that? So there we have our 2 little lambs, one with batting applique and one with our varsity fill. And remember, all of these features are doable in special effects software. So much fun. Fun. Look what my friend Aid McCarthy made. Is this poodle elegant or what? Now we still have some fringe to release on the hind legs, but I'm not going to do that because this is Aid's sample. Aid McCarthy is one of our fine educators here at Dime. Now she used a variegated thread on the crown and the legs, and then a different one on the tail, and then all pink on the collar. Isn't that stunning? That beautiful glittery substrate that she used for the body is our Caesar glitter, which is just so elegant on this French poodle. Oh, I love that.
Oh, she did a lovely job on that. She really did. So I did have a question from Kathy. Oh, yeah, she made a comment. She wants to do that on a Highland cow. I don't blame her. That does sound really fun. Now, Mary Hagg says, can you change the size of the fringe? Well, you really should not do that. And that's because the machines have a limit on stitch length. So if you were to enlarge a fringe element, let's call them a pom-pom, right? The software may let you do that, but when you go to the machine, the machine won't read it. So you're really best just leaving it as is. And then we do have some manual fringe effects in there that you can use to that have adjustable sizes. But the pom-poms and the half pom-poms, you're best not doing that. If you need a more intense fringe look, just add more pom-poms and that'll give you what you want. So Stephanie says, oh my goodness, she needs that poodle. Yeah. And Embroidery Garden, our good friend Remo Coxon, she says a variegated thread really ups the fringe look. It does. It really does. And because it's, small designs, right? The pom-poms and the half pom-poms are small. It allows you to, kind of splash that variegated colors, right? Because variegated thread is striped and it often doesn't look great if it's all striped, but because they're so small, you get a nice variety of the color in there. And it's just adorable. I know Ain really knocked it out of the park. And speaking of Ain, I think maybe we have some more Ain samples to show. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chenille that she has done.
And Ain McCarthy shared these samples with me. So I want you to take a good look at these fabrics. So she decorated these kitchen towels with purchased plaid fabric. And then she took some clip art that's in the software, and I could show you this file. And then she just converted it into two different plaids, right? We have this kind of russet color, and then we have a darker brown for the feathers in here. And then she also did an embossed complex fill for his crown. And boy, that looks fantastic. On the pumpkin, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different segments in the pumpkin, and each one is treated differently with the plaid. Here we have the diagonal plaid, so you'll notice that those openings are in a diamond pattern. And in the center, she opted for just the horizontal or the cross layout so that it looks like a more traditional plaid. Super fun. She went a step further because there's another feature in the software that is chenille. And look at this pot holder that she made. So she started with some white fabric, and then she added some strips of the plaid fabric, and the white would be here, and then these orange, deeper orange, are positioned in that fashion. And then once you do the magic of chenille, it all frays up and it just looks like a subtle stripe, the white and the darker orange here. Great job on that. And I have some other samples of chenille, kind of that maybe you can see that striped effect a little bit more visible. Here you can see that I have white fabric, a strip of teal, a strip of green, and a strip of raspberry. And same on this side. We get two different looks, and that's just by the position of where you lay down those raw edge strips before you do the stitching. And here is traditional, just a regular pot holder, and we have two different directions, diagonally in one way and the other way. And these are quite usable, nice, filled with batting, so they're safe to use in the kitchen. Speaking of chenille, look at this fun lamb. He's so big and he's soft and fluffy. Now, Ain did applique using the Caesar strip flock, which is just a flat kind of velvety material. This is stitched in a complex fill, so that's thread. Look how big he is, right?
So that that sheep that she did is the same artwork that I used for those 4 lambs. So, you most certainly can apply so many different techniques, resize, enlarge, and so forth. So Rhonda Roberts wanted to know, can you import your own designs into the software? Of course, our software saves and opens all formats of embroidery design. So you most certainly can do that. And then you can, use our tools to apply new features to your embroidery design. So absolutely. Okay, well, we are so excited about 2025. 2025, I've learned recently, I read on the web that in the world of numerology, it's a 9 year. So what does that mean? So 2025, 2 plus 2 is 4 plus 5 equals 9. And 9 is a transformative number. Why? Well, it's the last single digit before double digits. And that is the extent of my numerology wisdom. So, but I am sharing that 2025 it feels to me like it is a transformative year. I think lots of great things are going to happen. And I think lots of great things are going to happen here at Dime. So you'll be enjoying our On the House as we have provided every week. You'll be enjoying those free designs that we do every Thursday. You're going to see Ashley Jones every Tuesday, and I'll be here on Thursdays. And hopefully we have others that will join us, and we'll have a whole lot of fun. So we also, in the software, I just kind of wanted to talk about one more feature, and that's Mylar. I know many of you love Mylar, and you would like to apply it to different, designs and fonts and so forth. So let's go ahead and see.
So if you love Mylar like we do here at Dime, then you would also love the Mylar feature in special effects software. And we use it, for text and simple shapes, also for accents in embroidery designs. Like, for instance, this glass measuring cup has Mylar in it to give it a little sparkle, as does the spatula and the pot. So you can use it sparingly, or you can use it all over, whatever you decide. But see that little sparkle that you get? It's not real intense.
Oh, I guess that was the end of that. Did we lose the connection? Oh, well. Yeah, Mylar it's a delicate application of shine and sparkle. It's not like an HTV, like our glitter that is, really glittery and sparkly. And it's not as powerful as our Kingstar metallic thread, but it does give that subtle hint of, kind of a wet look or just a little metallic look, because it lays underneath of regular embroidery thread. And to do it in our software is just so easy. I mean, literally, you just like I showed you on the Be Your Own Hero text, you would do the very same thing. And instead of clicking on Prism, you would just click on the Mylar tool, and boom, there you have Mylar. Now, I love what Linda Johnston has said. She says 2025 is the year of the sewing machine and software. Now, I think, Linda Johnston, that you retired last spring, and you are just enjoying the opportunity to play virtually, to embroider virtually. And then after you've done a lot of playing, then you get the opportunity to stitch it out, right? We are blessed to have this hobby for sure. Let's see. And then some of you folks at Carolyn Booth, she said that she loves that we bundled the 2024 On the House designs because she had missed a few. So now, if you remember, though, they will go away, but they are there now, and they're all in one large zip file, all 52 weeks. So I hope that you'll take advantage of that. Okay. So speaking of On the House, we do have a new design this week, and it does feature fringe, which I think you're going to love. And this time, you won't need to have the embroidery special effects software to stitch this design. But if you want to make your own and do just a tenth or all of what I just showed you, or what Ashley showed us on Tuesday, then this would be a good time to purchase that embroidery special effects software. And it's at a great price. It's an instant download, so you'll be playing with it in today's snowstorm, and you can be stitching in just an hour. Won't that be fun? Okay, so let's see. I'm going to be back next week, and I think next week we are doing sweatshirt trends, which will be a lot of fun. And, you know, it's that time of year, sweatshirts, right? And we sure are living in them right now with this cold weather. And we're going to talk about, you know, that side seam applique and center chest and center back and left chest, all kinds of fun stuff. So I hope you'll join me for that. Ashley will be hosting her next Software Success on January 21st at 1 o'clock. So I hope you'll join her. And then we always appreciate it when you like us on Facebook. You know, by doing that, that tells us you are enjoying the content that we are creating, and that you would if you would also follow us on YouTube, then you'll be notified when we're going live. And who knows what 2025 is going to bring. We may be going live more than once a week. So we hope that you'll join us. And we hope that you'll share your projects. Now, I'm going to run the reel that we had for last year, so you can just kind of, and we do shorten it, you know, so that it's not very long. But we would like you to see what you've been creating and, you know, what your friends, right? Here we are between friends. What have your friends been stitching so that we can all learn from each other and be inspired? So let's see. We had so many great designs. We so appreciate what you do, and we are inspired by your work for sure. So if you want to know where to find those designs, it's on our website, dzgns.com. Go to Embroidery Projects, Free Designs, and that's where you're going to find all of 2024 and the first of 2025, which is today. So today is an adorable little snowbird, and he's got a tassel on his ski cap and also on the ends of his scarf. So I hope that you'll take advantage of him and download him and stitch him out. He's super cute, and he's got some friends coming in the rest of January. So we'll look forward to seeing them next week. Thank you for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to share my love of embroidery, and specifically embroidery special effects software. Oh my goodness, it's so much fun. I'm just gonna get out of here and go back on my computer and just start digitizing again. Have a great day. Stay warm.